Yay.
Hey.
So Miss Kate will be going over the life cycle of a potato. So it's going to be so fun,
These potatoes.
educational, and we're going to let Miss Kate go review the lesson. So we're going to give her our undivided attention, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, howdy, welcome. So let me know if you feel like you have a hard time hearing me or have any questions, just speak up. So first of all, before we start, how many people eat potatoes? Raise your hand. Yeah, we all do. Mostly people that I know do. And they've been around for thousands and thousands of years. They actually started where we traced them so far back to is in Peru and South America, and they were growing wild, and we did what was called domesticated them. So we started farming them and growing them, and everybody said, oh, I love these potatoes, they're inexpensive, I can cook them so many ways. So they became a hit, and farmers started growing them like crazy. Did anybody watch the video?
I did.
It's in
No, I
the,
have not. Yeah, we may not watch it yet.
but it talks about, and I'll briefly say, and then we're going to have some video or worksheets to look at, but it talks about the life cycle of a potato. So potatoes start as a little seedling, and then you actually grow a potato from a potato. So these potatoes that can grow other potatoes and come into a plant are called seed potatoes. So once we've had a seed and we've developed a seed potato, then we plant them and the farmer would harvest them. Who knows what harvesting is? Speak up if you do know. Just a picking out of the garden. So like in the video, if you watch it, you'll see that there's a machine that the farmer uses to harvest the potatoes and pick them and puts them in a wooden box and stores them in a cool temperature. And then he distributes them around the world to where we can have potato chips, French fries, baked potatoes, sweet potatoes. And then I want to mention one more thing, and then we're going to do the worksheets and tie it in together. And I'll plant some here. I'll show you what I'm going to plant. Is that a potato is a root vegetable. Who knows what else is another root vegetable besides a potato?
Carrots.
Yeah, good job, carrot. So a root vegetable grows under the ground. So carrots.
Celery.
Vega. Go ahead, Kirsha.
Celery.
Celery grows above the ground, but it grows close to the ground. So a root onion, if you've ever seen an onion grow, or a rutabaga, or a radish, there's a lot of root vegetables. And one of the coloring sheets that we sent home had some of them on it. But we like a lot of them, but it seems like potatoes are really popular. So let's go ahead and, oh, one last thing. So before we go to the worksheet, who remembers the word photosynthesis from school? I see some hands up. Yep, me too. So see if you can see this. I don't know how well this will work, but I wrote the word out. Look at what a big word it is. Photosynthesis. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
You can?
Yep.
So
Get a little bit closer to the camera. There you go. Good, yes.
So who remembers and can tell me about what photosynthesis is? Anybody speak up if you can.
Well, who knows what photosynthesis comes from?
The sun.
Yeah, exactly right. Good job. So it's light energy. So it can be from the sun most of the time. Sometimes we grow plants indoors and we use lights to make the light energy. So it's light energy, like from the sun, and it turns into chemical energy. Woo, that's pretty fancy, right? Then a cell in this very own plant, own cell creates that energy, the chemical energy that it's able to use as food, and then it can grow. So just think, like, plants and living things are so smart. And as you're out and about in your yard or in your community, think about what stage of life cycle are different living things in around you. Okay, so now let's go to one of the worksheets. Miss Natalie?
Are we doing the first one, the life cycle?
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay. Can everyone see that one?
Yes.
Yep.
So, who wants to be a reader? Let's have some help here reading this through. Let's start with Thomas. And Thomas, can you read the very top of it where it says potatoes are?
We didn't print that one off and we can't see it.
You can't see. So I'm going to read this to you, and just
supposed to read it.
it's like a cycle. What is a cycle, by the way? Let's review that. A cycle is a series of events that are regularly repeated in the same order, or it's a period of time that it takes to complete a series of events. So cycles of life for a potato are like the seed, the seedling, then it grows into the potato plant, and then eventually, using the photosynthesis from the sun, the leaves are getting all that energy and giving nutrients. And what else do potatoes have to have besides the sunlight to get nutrients?
Yeah,
Water.
What's that? What else? What am I going to plant them in?
Soil.
Soil. Oh, that's right.
No, you're right.
Soil that I have. I don't know if you can see it, but it's
She's
and have, if you're going to grow some potatoes at home, you'll want to use some good potting soil from a nursery, or if you have really good rich soil, my yard used to be a celery field, so we have really black dirt back there, but a lot of places you wouldn't want to collect the soil because there could be runoff of chemicals or other things. So it's important that you have good soil, because the nutrients in it are going to feed the plant as well. So it's the sunlight, the soil, and what else do all living things need to live? We drink it. It comes down from the sky and waters the garden. Oh, I just said.
I said water already. Wait.
Sorry. Good job. Yeah, absolutely. So soil.
Water's our blood life.
And nobody ever took care of the plants. Like for the farmers, what if they just threw their potatoes and their whole crop in the farm and just went away and said, oh, I'll come back next month and see how it is? Do you think those plants would survive?
No.
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 Somebody taking care of them. And throughout nature, like they are just able to overcome all the different things that come against them. But in a garden, there's different pests and little bugs and things that can come into play that can ruin a whole crop. So a farmer or a caretaker of a garden has to always stay on top of it and care for the plant as it grows. Okay, so I'll quickly read this, and Ashley, let me know when we get to a time when we're like 5 minutes out. So back to the life cycle of the potato. Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you still listening?
Yes.
I'm talking a lot. That's going to give you a chance to talk on the next worksheet. So potatoes are dug out of the soil, and then little eyes begin to form on the potato to make the little bud. Who's ever seen a potato where the little spot on it and heard somebody say, oh, that's a potato eye? Yeah, me too. So that, from the little eyes, is where the little buds grow out and start to sprout so that they can form the shoot. So the shoots are going to grow.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that.
Potato, and I would plant it
Oh,
in mounds and then the roots would begin growing from the potato into the soil. Now those roots are so smart, they know how to absorb water and take it up to the plant. They know how to absorb nutrients, which are all the vitamins and minerals that a plant needs to grow, just like we do. And the roots are so smart, they can take it right up to the plant, take it up the stem into the leaves. The leaves will get more nutrients from the sun. They take it back down the stem, back down all the way to the root vegetable. So it's just a constant inner working cycle, and it's just brilliant. So let's go to the second worksheet.
Okay, and that is the potato plant growth.
Okay, well, I don't see if you guys can see it. Anyone can see it.
I got it.
Oh, right here. This one.
So
I can see it.
about that, that's just a picture that shows first on the far left, you see how it's just a potato underground? So its little tubings are coming up and they break through the earth. You plant the soil loosely around the potato and the leaves begin to grow. And as you notice, at the very top of the plant, who sees what's happening in that fourth plant on the very top? What's the fourth at the very top there?
Flowers.
Yeah, flowers.
Flowers.
Flowers come. Those flowers are actually going to end up producing more seeds to help begin the cycle again. So after the flowers grow, it starts giving more and more nutrients down to build the potatoes and grow them bigger, because the leaves get bigger and can get more and more nutrients and food down to that potato. And then in the last picture, you see the leaves start to die. Well, that's normal. Once they start to turn brown and die, then it's time to pick and harvest the potato. Okay, we can go to the next worksheet. Thank you.
You are welcome. And then that one is the distribution.
Let's do the distribution. Are we okay on time or not?
Yep, you're good.
Ashley.
With this one, could I have, can you guys see it, Kim, at the group home?
What is that one? We can kind of see it.
What is that?
I don't think I sent this one to you guys.
Yeah,
This is just,
we don't have
yeah,
all these.
this is just for you, for us to read.
Oh.
So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but who can see number one well enough to read it? Who wants to volunteer to read number one?
Carrie.
Okay,
The growing cycle starts with top quality seed production nearly 12 months in advance.
good job. So just like what we had discovered earlier, in the very beginning, we've got to have that good seed to begin. And then as you notice, it goes through the whole cycle of all kinds of things like planting the potato, harvesting the potato, shipping, distributing it throughout the society. And then when you come down to number 10 at the very bottom, let's have another volunteer to read number 10.
Kircha?
Okay. In story,
Store.
the potatoes are displayed in packs. What is the other word?
According.
According to weight,
Variety.
variety, and sizes.
Very good.
Thank you.
So when it gets all the way to the store, it's displayed on the rack and we buy it and create what we want to make with our potatoes, right?
Yep.
So we go through a whole cycle, and there's a lot of different people that are involved in getting that potato actually to our table. So we can go to the next one, Miss Ashley.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is this one?
Yeah. And so at the top, we'll just, can anybody see the picture at the top?
Yes.
Yes.
Tell what it is, or is it hard to tell?
It's a field.
It's a field.
It's a field.
a field where the farmers have planted the potatoes in the rows and they have grown into plants there. So then if you go to where the arrow is pointing down, the next one is where the potatoes have been harvested. They've been picked out of the soil. Then you're going into a truck, a big semi truck, to drive them to a plant, not like a plant that grows, but the plant that has a cycle of operations that gets the potatoes inspected, so they throw out any bad ones, and packaged up ready to sell. Then look at where the arrow's taking it, another big semi truck. Oh my goodness, they're on the truck for the second time. So what's that picture? What are those?
One truck.
Yeah, four. So,
Down and up.
and then I don't know if you can tell the last picture, they put potato chips. So it's just
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
cool.
Potato chips.
Potato chips.
Potato chips.
Yummy.
I think that was potato chips.
Vocabulary worksheet.
Okay.
Can anybody see it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's take turns reading these. Who wants to go? How about
That.
You don't have that one, Kim?
I
No.
don't have any of these, sorry.
Totally.
We're listening though.
Okay,
Okay.
so how about Thomas, go first and listen and see if you know the answer, okay? And if you don't, we're all gonna help each other, don't worry. New plants grow from, what did we say they had to start out as in the very beginning?
See,
Did you say seed?
Did you hear? See?
Good job. Seed first. Good job.
Good job, Thomas.
So the first one is seeds. Mhm.
Seeds.
2.
And this second one, I'm going to give you guys a hint before I read it. Remember that word photosynthesis?
Yes.
Remember the word where the light energy ends up into plant food energy? Well, a byproduct, the result of photosynthesis is oxygen. And that's what we breathe. So through that cycle of getting nutrients for itself, a plant is so smart, it even puts off oxygen for us to breathe in the end. So here's the second one. How about Robert Hill for this one? Ready, Robert? Plants give off what that helps us breathe? What do plants give off that helps us breathe?
Oxygen.
Job, oxygen, woohoo!
Yeah.
Awesome. Good job.
Three. You ready, CJ?
Ma'am.
It says the what of a plant grow underground. What part of it grows underground?
Well, I think,
What are these right here?
roots.
Roots, woohoo! Yes,
Woo!
gotta have those roots, right? It's gonna bring the
Yeah.
nutrients and the water to the plant. Excellent. Number 4. Hey, now this is something we haven't talked about, but I'm sure all of you know about. It says insects. Wait, let's pick someone. Who else is?
Gabe.
I'm trying to finish the. Who else is sitting there?
Gabe. Oh, Thomas.
Oh, sorry.
Thomas did that? No, I think he went first. Who didn't go yet at the group home?
Jason.
Jason. Yes. Hey, Jason. Okay, Jason, this one's for you. Number 4. Insects carry what from flower to flower?
Pollen.
Pollen. Woohoo! Good job. Yep. And that pollen is so important. I'm sure you guys have heard about how important it is pollinating insects, birds to spread the pollen help our plant growing. So that's an important thing. So number 5, let's have Gabe. Can you see it, Gabe?
Yeah.
Why don't you read number 5 and tell us what you think it should be?
The blank part of a plant shows how it grows, lives, and dies. Life
What-
cycle.
Good job, woohoo! Life cycle. That's what we're talking about, right? Starting at a seed, ending up, the flowers are gonna end up putting more seeds at the end, and that plant ends up dying off, making room for a new plant to grow. Oh, this is a good one. How about Kirsha for number 6?
Yes. Okay, all plants need, what is that?
Sunlight.
Sunlight, food, and what?
What-
Water.
Woohoo! Yes, ma'am. Got to have water. If they don't, they're gonna dry up.
Yeah.
And let's see, who else is on? I haven't got.
Harry.
Here, could you read number 7, Chris? Can you see it?
Yeah, the blank of a plant grows on the stem.
What do you think?
Leaves?
Leaves. Yahoo!
Oh,
And they
hey,
got
Gary. Woo!
Good job, Carrie.
Okay, okay.
Woo!
Hey, you guys, what do the leaves collect?
Oh,
What about that sunlight, right? They're sitting
Uh,
waiting for the sunlight, and they capture that light energy to turn the chemical energy where the cell of that actual plant can use that as food. It's so amazing, that photosynthesis. Okay.
I think it sounds like.
Did everybody get a turn so far to read?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let Miss Nasty read number 8.
Sometimes a plant can grow blank that we can eat. Fruit.
Woo!
Fruit, raise your hand.
Love fruit.
Thank goodness these plants grow food for us.
Dude, I love food.
The part of the plant that holds it straight is what, guys? What's that the plant that holds it straight?
A stem?
A stem.
Very good.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, good job. So I'm gonna show you about planting potatoes for a minute. Guys, see me still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What technology, but I'm so neat to be able to see you guys. I love it. So when I do gardening, because I have a little bit of fingernail, and I just think it's a good idea in general, I wear gloves so that whatever's in the soil doesn't get under my nails and get all on my hands too much. So for this soil and for potatoes, if you want to grow potatoes at home, you can grow them in dirt in a little pot. Like the farmer had the big row for like a raised bed. How many of you have ever started a potato sprout in a glass of water, like way back when in school? When I used to go to school, they had that project where you put the toothpicks around the potato and you put it in the water and you watch the plant start to grow. Well, theoretically, that plant should always be planted in dirt to end up producing potatoes. Okay, so let's get busy. Do you guys see these? These are my seed potatoes. So what I've done in this soil is I've loosened it up, because with potatoes, you want really loose soil. You don't want it tight at all. And I don't know how well you can see this, but 2 troughs, 2 rows that are dug down. So I'm placing my potatoes in here, in the dirt, and then I'm gonna take the side dirt and just loosely cover them. Not covering them too much, just loosely. So in this pot, I'm only gonna plant 4. So that was one variety. And by the way, these are actually heirloom seed potatoes that my stepmother gave me. So this variety, I'm gonna plant 3 across. And they look so funny, don't they? Look how little they are.
Oh, they're little.
They will grow a potato plant
They are.
and some plants. So once again, I'm just placing them, keeping some distance between them, and I'm gently covering loosely with the soil. Now up front, I have some other plants, and we're growing some peppers and some tomatoes and some Swiss chard. So I'm gonna put this pot up there to be able to grow with some friends around. And one thing that I don't ever want to forget, and you always have to remember, is that watering is so important. So every time I plant something, I always make sure I saturate the dirt with enough water that it'll drain through. Which brings me to another good point. If you do plant potatoes or anything at home, what you didn't see is before I put this dirt in this pot, I put a broken up clay pot pieces in there where you can put rocks, something that helps the drainage come out, and you want to have some little holes in the bottom of your pot. Most pots come with them, all don't. A great way to grow potatoes is in like a growing bag, believe it or not, because you can rip open the side of the bag and just reach in and get your potatoes. Our very own famous Mr. Jim from the wood shop, he told another fascinating way to grow potatoes. Guess what it is? You put tires and you stack them on top of each other, fill the dirt in, and then when your potato plant on the top, remember how we said when it's ready to pick the potatoes, the leaves will die. So they turn brown, and then underneath you take the tire off, and there's all your potatoes. But for me, I'm just gonna dig them out with my hands.
You raise your hand?
Very good.
Do you guys have any questions, or do you think you might
No,
grow potatoes better?
no.
DJ, hold on.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No questions. That was great.
That was good.
What was
Yeah.
great?
Okay.
I can't wait to see you in person again one day soon. And you guys have a great weekend and have a lot of fun. And do some
Hey,
cool.
And if you guys, sorry, if you
Bye-bye.
guys decide to do potatoes, send a picture to your supervisor. We would love to see your own potatoes cycle.
We can do that.
And then when mine come out and they sprout, I'll take a picture and send them for you guys to see my little leaves coming out.
Okay.
That's nice.
Awesome.
Great.
All right, guys. Well, that concludes our Zoom for today.
Woo!
Thank you so much, Miss Kate. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Kate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You
Thank
too.
you. Zach.
Thank you.
Girl.
Bye.
Thank you so